Hey guys, it's finally here. It is now time for my ban list prediction. So, with the help of you guys and a lot of forums and watching a lot of other people's ban list prediction, I have pretty much composed, what I think Konami would do, but, nobody's perfect, and it's really hard to get in Konami's head. So there is a lot of amendments. I was taking into consideration the meta, I was taking into consideration the profit margin, and just everything that Konami has to take into consideration when it comes to making these ban lists. So I'm going to try my best to get as close as I can. Like I said, it's really fun to do these ban list predictions. So it's fun to, see how many cards you get right. So, it'd be interesting just to see how many cards I get right on this list. So, as you can tell, this video is not a live video. I do not have time to do a live video. I've been fairly busy. So, we're going to just do it mega capital G style. And we're just pretty much just I'm going to show you the image of the card and we're just going to go over it. So, we're just going to start with ban cards and work our way back, and then we're going to talk about amendments and the reasons why particular cards are on the list and the reasons why particular cards aren't on the list, etc., etc. So, for cards banned, I have nothing. I have nothing banned. And you're probably like, wait, Daniel, aren't you a big advocate of Soul Charge being banned? And I totally am. I'm probably one of the very few people in this world who thinks that Soul Charge should definitely be banned, but that is an amendment card that I will have to go over at the end of this ban list video. So, I can't be completely sure 100% or even, 90% that Soul Charge will even get hit, let alone, banned. So I just don't feel confident in, indefinitely putting that on the list. So besides Soul Charge, I really feel like no card is actually ban worthy. So I have no ban cards. Alright, so limited to one. I have Nurse, Reficule, the Fallen One, and Bad Reaction to Simochi, both of them. And, lately Konami has been doing a lot of this cutesy, hit the sackiness, they've hidden, self-destruct button and final countdown, they've hidden Morphing Jar number 2. So, it seems like every single list, Opposite Presidents, Konami's kind of been doing this whole, hit a Saki deck, hit a Saki deck, hit a Saki deck, hit a Saki deck. And what better Saki deck to hit this time than, of course, the whole Cure Burn deck. Especially since the Cure Burn deck just got a new common card in Primal Origins and Try and Guess. So, if you guys don't know what that card does, pretty much, you play the card, you call something in the extra deck, so Fusion, Synchro, and C, you reveal the extra deck, and, whoever has the most of that card gains 3,000 life points. Yay, congratulations, you get 3,000 life points, except I have Bad Reaction, or I have the Nurse on the field, so you're taking 3,000. Combine that with gift cards, combine that with upstarts, and you get intact. Now, this deck has been topping a couple of times, and I think it's enough to be on Konami's radar. So, like I said, don't be surprised if these two cards actually go down to 1. And, I just think that's kind of like, I think that'd be a decent move for Konami. And the next card I have limited down to 1 is Geargiagear. I think Geargiagear is definitely the card they're going to go after. From this ban list, and this is why this ban list has so many amendments, is the profit margin. Definitely the profit margin. That this ban list, and the way that this time is set in the period with Konami, there's a big, huge profit margin that they're missing. That in between this ban list and the Duelist Alliance coming out, there's a month gap where Konami's going to be relying on their current product to be pushed to allow to make up that profit. And that definitely amended some of my thoughts on what should get hit and what won't get hit, and etc., etc. But definitely one of the decks that Konami is absolutely not making any money off of, but yet losing money because this deck is so powerful, is definitely Geargiagear. So, one of the first cards you would point fingers at when it comes to, hitting a particular deck is, in particular Geargiagear would, of course, be Geargiagear. Definitely Konami frowns upon summoning from the deck and, being able to summon the 2 monsters from the deck and going to the extended plays, which is also another thing that Konami frowns upon, is definitely, something that we can address and hit. Now, right now on the list, like I said, there's amendments and stuff like that. all I have is Geargiagear down to 1, and I really can't really think of what else to hit, because there's so many different candidates. You know, some people are like, oh, well, hit the armor, and some people are like, oh, well, hit the accelerator, or no, hit the Gear God next, and, you know, I really don't know enough about Geargiar / Geargiar Katakuri to really get into in depth and, you know, get inside the minds of Konami on how far they want to take this. You know, do they want to just, you know, hit the deck? Because with Geargiagear down to 1, the deck would still be very viable. It'd still be a very strong deck, and, you know, asking me personally, do I think that's a strong enough hit? I would say no. But to take it any farther, you know, you might actually be killing off the deck. And, you know, the question is that what Konami wants to do? It's really hard to tell what Konami wants to do when it comes to this deck, but, you know, just don't be surprised if, you know, something along those lines gets hit, because definitely Geargia is probably the biggest candidate to get hit on this list in general. It's arguably one of the strongest decks, and it's been here for, you know, for who knows how long, and it's just been losing Konami money ever since. And definitely with this big old profit margin gap between July and August, they need to push their new product, and the last thing they need to have is their new product, their current product, the stuff in Primal Origins, losing to this old product of Geargia that they're not making any money off of. So, you know, that one is going to be difficult to decide. Like I said, I definitely believe that Geargiagear is going to be the one to get hit and get hit limited to 1, but I'm not sure if they're going to push it even farther and just leave it at that. So only time will tell, and I guess we'll find out when we get our ban list. Alright, so those are all the cards that I have limited to 1. You know, that I'm definitely positive on those cards being moved. Definitely. Like, at least 80% sure. Those cards. Alright, so moving on to semi-limited. Semi-limited, I got Fire Formation Tenki. Alright, so, pretty much Bujins, they're kind of done with Bujins. And what I mean by kind of done with Bujins, I mean they're not making much profit off of them. Past profit, it's not their money cow anymore. The new money cow is artifacts. They pretty much have sold all their Bujins. Now, what I'm saying is, you know, sort of, it's because, you know, those tins, but those tins are closer to the end of the year, so if they want to, and they want to promote the tins, they can always go ahead and move Tenki back up to 3, you know, closer to those 10 release. But for right now, in this period where, like I said, with this, this frame of profit, you know, trying to step away from Bujins a little bit, try to promote the stuff in Primal Origins, and, you know, with Bujins aren't, you know, the biggest cash cow, like I said, but, you know, Tenki down to 2, I think, would be a justifiable, just, you know, a little tap. You know, Konami likes to, you know, address cards that have either been on the list or, you know, are currently on the list. They'd rather move cards like that than add new cards. You know, just look at Herodic Seal. But, like I said, with the whole profit margin, I can't be really sure about Tenki going down to 2. It would be a justifiable hit, and it wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Tenki went down to 2. But if it remains stayed at 3 just for this list, just because, like I said, the whole profit margin in Primal Origins, you know, with Harume and Arasuda, you know, it's kind of hard to tell, really. It pretty much comes down to how much profit and how they want to frame this ban list that Konami wants to do, and it's hard to get in their heads when it comes to, you know, new decks and new cards. And sure, of course, things should be addressed, but will they? That's another question that's really hard to ask. So the next card that I have going to 2 is Traptrix Myrmelo. I feel that Traptrix Myrmelo is definitely on Konami's radar when it comes to that particular profit margin. That, of course, you know, with Hat being the top deck, you know, it has certain aspects of the deck that they want to make money off of, but when it comes to the whole Traptrix portion, not really. I mean, of course, you gotta take into consideration, as long as they're making trap cards, they're making money, but really, how much money can you really make off of a trap hole card, and when you really think about it like that? You know, just being able to, of course, search for bottomlesses and stuff like that, search for trap hole cards in general, it's very powerful, and, I said, you know, just put it down to 2 would just be fine. Just lower the consistency of opening up with it. You know, I've been seeing a lot of people's banlist predictions. Some say 1. You know, me personally, if it went down to 1, I really wouldn't care. But I think that's taken a little bit too far. I think maybe 2 would be okay, and then maybe lower the whatever that D bitch's name that I run, that's kind of like a wolf bark, maybe lower her down to, well, she would just naturally go down to 1, because then you could dead draw her, because she really can't do much without Myrmelo. And if Myrmelo is at 2, there's really no point, because I know in the current version of Hat, they run 3 Myrmelo and 2 of her, so if we drop Myrmelo down to 2, then, you know, chances are people are just going to take the D-bitch down to 2 as well. So, I mean, down to 1, because you don't want to dead draw that shit, because she really can't do anything without Myrmelo being in the graveyard, and because we lowered the consistency of you drawing her, that means that there's a lower chance that you're able to go off of Myrmelo, do something like Search, and then also go ahead and wolf bark her back with the D-bitch. So, tell me what you guys think of that one. Like I said, I didn't want to take it too far. Deck is not... that particular card, Melo's not really in the profit margin. Neither is Bottomless. Neither is you know, Trap Tricks, Trap Hole. So you know, we can kind of like just put her down. You know, put her on the list. You know, be like, okay, well, we definitely, you know, set precedence for something. So tell me what you guys think about that one. All right, next card I have is Abyssphere, and you're probably thinking, well, Daniel, you know, in your balance talk, you're pretty much saying like, oh, well, you know, they're probably going to skid under the radar, skid under the radar, skid under the radar, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't get hit at all. But the thing is that, once again, with this whole profit margin, you know, Myrmels have definitely been that deck that's always been good, and it's still good. And you know, if it happens to be that, you know, Myrmels are going to be doing really well, then we can go ahead and address them. By hitting Myrmels, you can address them, and, you know, they don't affect your profit margin. You know, they're not making any money off of Myrmels. You know, just going off a set precedence of OCG and their list. I'm not sure, you know, if, you know, TCG Konami has already made the list, if they've consulted with the OCG, but, you know, just going off of set precedence, you know, putting the Abyssphere down to 2 seems like a relevant hit. Not too hard on the Myrmels, but just enough to put him on the spot where, you know, just to test the waters. That was a pun. And see, you know, how far they have to push this deck, because it seems like every time they make a hit on this deck, it seems like the deck does really well. And, you know, I know that the deck hasn't been, you know, doing as well on its toppings lately in this later half of the format, but definitely in the early half of the format, they were very powerful still. They were still topping. They were still doing really well, and to be hit wouldn't be a surprise. Of course, they are not doing as well because, you know, the matchups and, you know, how many people are playing the deck, and of course, the decks that are being played right now are, you know, the profit margin. People are playing the hands. People are playing the artifacts. People are playing the, you know, the Majotes, and that's where, like I said, this month of between July and August is where the profit margin for Konami is going to be. So, you know, that's exactly how Konami wants it. So, you know, if they want to go ahead and, you know, because despite these decks being, you know, the top things right now, Myrmel still are popping their heads out of the water. Stop it with the water puns. So, if we can go ahead and, you know, put that to 2, and let's see what it does. And if, you know, if that's it, and the Myrmels aren't popping, and the top decks are exactly what Konami wants them to be, their profit margin, especially things in Primal Origin, over the next month until, you know, Duelist Alliance, and they can make that money, because that's pretty much all they had. And that's the thing. That's the problem, is that there's a big old hole, just a big old hole of profit margin between this ban list and the next pack. So, like I said, you know, we know Konami wants that money. We know that Konami wants that Luma, and, you know, tons of cards that should be addressed are probably just going to skid by on the list just because Konami wants to make that wow. So, I think, you know, Abyssphere to 2 would be a decent hit, and it would make sense. So, you know, don't be surprised if Abyssphere goes down to 2. Alright, next card I have at 2 is Black Horn of Heaven. I was kind of debating on this one, going back and forth, and I kind of felt like maybe this card was a little bit too powerful to be at 2. You know, I'm not really, this one really doesn't have to do anything with the partial, you know, money margin or anything like that along those lines. I was just kind of thinking in Month Konami, and in the sense of, you know, generally, you know, with the banning of Heavy Storm, they've been kind of looking at, you know, trap cards and back row in general, and, you know, seeing, you know, and weighing how much it goes off, and definitely this format has been swinging into more of a back row set heavy format, and one of the key and most powerful cards that you can sit in this format is Black Honor Heaven, which pretty much just punishes you for using any kind of inherent summon. And the thing is that if you're going to look at it from the part, you know, margin-wise, how much does it hurt, you know? You know, with Madoches being one of the decks I definitely want to promote with Angeli, you know, with a simple Black Horn, you can just shut down Tiramisu. And, you know, with, you know, 3 Black Horns running around, you can just shut down Tiramisu. You know, that might, you know, deteriorate some of the play in Madoches, therefore deteriorating, you know, the purchases of Angelis and the packs of Primal Origin. But then on the other hand, you know, artifacts, on the other hand, yeah, so, you know, those really aren't inherent summons, they're triggered, so, you know, Blackhorn can't hit them, so in that aspect, then Blackhorn is fine, because, you know, they're not hitting that profit margin. If you look at it from a Boujin point of view, since, you know, they're trying to make money off of Boujins, you know, when it comes to, like, their main monsters, like Yamato and stuff, then they're fine, but as soon as they try to exceed into something, Blackhorn is definitely gonna hit them, and, you know, especially when they're trying to make that, you know, speed up the Boujin deck with Hirurume and go into more Exceed plays, go into some Arasudas, you can easily just get Blackhorned, you know. And also, by hitting Blackhorn and, you know, deteriorating how many Blackhorns you run, it would increase and counteract with the increase of wiretap. So instead of it being like, okay, well, you have 3 Blackhorn, I have 3 wiretap, now it would be you have 2 Blackhorn and I have 3 wiretap. Therefore, it increases the play of wiretap. Of course, wiretap is in Dragons of Legends, which is another one of those profit margin packs that I think that plus Primal Origins is going to try to keep Konami's head above water until they can go ahead and release Duelist Alliance. So, you know, if you're going to point at really any back row this format, it would probably definitely be Blackhorn of Heaven. You know, I know some people want to point the fingers at, you know, Breakthrough Skill / Fiendish Chain, but the thing is that those things don't get rid of the monster in the field, they just kind of block their effects. So definitely, you know, in comparison to Blackhorn, which is a counter trap that stops inherent summons at no cost, you know, with Solemn Warning being at 1 for a reason, Thunder King Ryo being at 1 for a reason, stopping inherent summons is a very powerful thing, and just being able to do it with no cost is because, you know, Blackhorn wasn't relevant at, you know, at first, but now it's gained relevance. Like I said, don't be surprised if it gets, you know, hit. Alright, and cards of 3, I'm terrible when it comes to cards of 3. I looked up and down that list, and I really am just like, I don't know, you know, I don't know, maybe Necroface comes to 3, I don't know, you know, let me go over there, let me go to the list, and let me check again. Card Trooper, no. Chaos Sorcerer, maybe. I personally wouldn't like it, but if that's what Konami wants to do, I don't see the profit margin. Maybe to promote Light Sworns in Twilight version of the deck, so Chaos Sorcerer 3. Lunefire, I don't see that. Necroface, okay. Reborn Tengu, no. Sonar Monk, no. Tragodia, I doubt it. Advanced Shard, no. Chain Strike, no. Heroic Seal, no. Reasoning, no. Deep Prison, no. Mirror Force, no. Dramature, no. So I'd say if anything was gonna go up to 3, no. Chaos Sorcerer and Necroface. I'll just throw those on there because why the hell not? Alright, and now, like I said in the beginning of the video, profit margin, lots of stipulations, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about and address cards that, you know, I personally feel like should be, you know, addressed, but definitely because of, you know, the profit margin and, you know, how Konami wants to sell, definitely, Dragons of Legends and Primal Origins, these cards, don't be surprised if these cards go unhit, because, you know, Konami still wants to sell. So the first card, of course, I know I'm going to talk about is Soul Charge, and, of course, Soul Charge should be banned, like, that's a given, and I can argue till the cows go home, and I've been hearing people's arguments, and I've been hearing people what they say, and I feel like I can only come from that point of view where I think it should be banned just because I'm unbiased. You know, tons of people have played Soul Charge, they felt the power, they've gotten a taste of it, and now they want it to stay, and really it's just generally just an unfair card, and you know, if Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a perfect game and everybody played the same exact deck and everybody opened up the same exact hand and everybody had the same exact skill and everything was just perfect, then yeah, sure, Soul Charge would be fine because, you know, everybody get it. But then you gotta take into considerations that Soul Charge just gives a natural unfair advantage to the person who gets it just because they get it. It's just an unnatural plus. Also take into consideration that, yes, majority of decks can run Soul Charge, and, you know, in that aspect, you know, Soul Charge should be fair because, you know, almost everybody can run it except for, what, Gravekeepers and Madoches. But you gotta take into consideration, what I revive with Soul Charge may not be the exact same of what you revive with Soul Charge. So my Soul Charge may be more powerful. You know, so I can take into consideration drawing it. You know, if I draw Soul Charge and I get it off and you don't get your Soul Charge and you don't get it off, then I just have an unnatural, fair, advantage over you just because I happened to get Soul Charge and you didn't. You in my opinion, I put it in the exact same boat as Pot of Greed, where, yes, Pot of Greed is an awesome card. If it came unbanned, everybody would run it. And, you would think on paper, yes, oh, it's fair because everybody can run Pot of Greed. But then, once again, take into consideration, what I draw to may not be the exact same as what you draw to. There's luck, the decks are different. I can get the Pot of Greed in the duel while you didn't, so I just have a natural unfair advantage because I got the Pot of Greed. So, definitely, I'm going to go ahead and put Soul Charge in that boat. I just don't understand why people think that Soul Charge should be limited to 1 or at 2 or at 3, while Monster Reborn is banned, and they both should be banned. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Monster Reborn should be unbanned because Monster Reborn is just as powerful. Just top decking, ripping just spell cards, just pulling off the advantage, just turning around the entire game just because of the spell card. Definitely screams that it should be hit. Pulling off loops like hand loops and OTKs and Quasars, that's not healthy either. So, definitely, in my opinion, Soul Charge should be banned. But like I said, with the whole profit margin and with Dragon of Legends being, the thing that they definitely want to sell and keep them afloat until Duelist Alliance, I wouldn't be surprised if if this card even goes untouched, let alone goes to 2 or 1. But like I said, I originally had it on my ban list as banned, but I decided to move it, taking into consideration Konami's profit margin, and stepping away from that whole ideal. On paper, Soul Charge should be banned, but when it comes to making the paper, it shouldn't. Alright, so next card to look at is Angeli. And, Angeli is one of the cards that, they definitely made a nice chunk of change off in Primal Origin, and like I said, they're still not done selling Primal Origin, and they won't be done for a cool minute. So, to hit Angeli, one of the, the prize cards that you're looking for in purchasing some Primal Origin, that might deteriorate the purchases of Primal Origin, just because, oh, well, I was going to buy a whole bunch of packs and boxes of Primal Origin so I can get 3 Angeli, but now since it's at 1, I don't need to buy as much, or I already got one, So it kind of deteriorates that, and it doesn't seem like Konami's really going to hit anything out of Primal Origin just because that's what they're trying to sell. So, despite, Madoche's being really good with 3 Angeli, like I said, don't be surprised if it doesn't get hit. Should it get hit? Oh, most definitely. It should definitely be, in my opinion, at 1, just to lower the consistency and open it, but, they don't want to do that. They want Madoches to do well. They want you to purchase the Angelis and, make some money and, continue to prosper with Primal Origin. So, like I said, if we do not see Angeli on the list at all, I will not be surprised, and we'll just continue on playing the game with Madoches being still one of the top tier decks, just because the power we're getting out of the deck, summoning out of the deck, is just so powerful. But like I said, they just want to make that money up in Primal Origin, so just let them. Alright, next cards I want to look at are Fire and Ice Hand, and people have been lately been debating on, Fire and Ice Hand, what to put them at. Are they the problem? We need to get rid of them. But once again, you got to consider the profit margin, where, this is the card from Dragon's Legend, and arguably the most expensive card from Dragon's Legends. This is what, it's not Soul Charge that you're purchasing Dragon's Legends to pull. You're trying to get them Fire and Ice Hands. A playset of them is around almost $60. So, you can, go ahead and buy them for $6 off of, a vendor, or, or you can, take the chance and, go ahead and pull them. I bought 5 packs of Dragons of Legends just for fun, and I ended up pulling 1 of each, a Fire and an Ice Hand. So, look at the money I saved. So, taking it out. Also, the packs were on sale because it was like, I think it was like, 20% off at my locals. So, I saved even a ton of money, and that's the thing, is that if they can continue to promote and be like, look how good Fire and Ice Hand are, purchase Dragons of Legends, I can definitely see Konami just not even, addressing these cards. So, these extra stipulations and stuff, these are definitely cards that we can look at to a later date, maybe not the next list, maybe not the list after that, but, these are definitely cards we can just look at, I can definitely see eventually Fire and Ice Hand going down to 2. I can see Angeli going down. I can see Soul Charge going down. And the last thing, well, no, not the last thing, but the next thing I want to talk about is artifacts. And of course, I even said it in the video that artifacts will go unscathed. And, you know, definitely now since looking at the profit margin, oh, definitely. Artifacts are the new babies, they're the new Mugens, and, you know, despite in the OCG, you know, Moral Talk going down to 1, I can definitely see us staying with the 3 Moral Talks and the 3 3 Sanctums, just because, you know, that's what they want to make money off of. And like I said, they want to just increase the profit and just increase the strength and make sure that these top tier decks that are composed of cards from Primal Origin stay above the rest of the decks that are not from Primal Origin, so more people will jump on the bandwagon, go ahead and play cards from Primal Origin and make Konami a lot of money, because that, you know, in the end of the day, that's what they want to do, is make money. Alright, so there's one more deck that I particularly want to talk about. Well, no, I'd probably say 2. And like I said, in my video, I said that, you know, decks were going to go under the radar, that they're going to go unscathed because they haven't, you know, been popping up as much, but I was incorrect on that. Those decks are going to get hit harder because the last thing they want to do is, you know, have those decks be strong or even competing with the decks that they want to sell in Primal Origin or anything Dragon of Legends related. So, you know, the next thing that you would probably look at is, you know, anything Dragon related, and I can, like I said, you know, from one point of view, they're like, okay, well, dragons are very powerful, they're still topping, they're still doing well, so we want to hit them so, you know, Konami can make money and not have to lose money on, of course, dragon rulers or anything related to that. But then you also got to take into consideration is that they do run like cards like Curry Bandit, and that's probably the main deck that card is played in. So, like I said, don't be surprised that deck goes unscathed just because they're trying to sell Curry Bandit in the Dragons of Legends pack. Like I said, that profit margin is just that's the key. That's the key word right here. That profit margin. That's that time frame. Like, that's a big time frame for Konami not to be, you know, doing any products. So, like I said, if they want to go ahead and keep on promoting that Curry Bandit, then they pretty much have to leave the Dragons unscathed. And you know, I kind of feel like if they want to leave the, you know, Curry Bandit unscathed with the Soul Charge unscathed, so they can just continue just making that moulahs, and that's what they want to do. All right. And, alright, now the final deck that I want to talk about, the final deck that I want to look at is Infernities. And Infernities, I think they're going down. I think they're going down. Like, this is the straw that definitely broke the camel's back. Where, in my previous videos, I was saying, like, well, if we just ban Soul Charge, we can go ahead and see, you know, what Infernities can do without it. But now, I'm starting to think, of course, that they want to leave Soul Charge alone, that, you know, put Dragons Legends, and as long as they can sell packs of, you know, Dragons of Legends, sell them Soul Charges, so people can make their Dragon Rulers, etc., you know, promote their Sylvans, of course, which also run Soul Charge, and make money off of that. I completely forgot about Sylvans, but, you know, they won't get touched as well, so, not that they really do need to get touched, but, you know, making money off of that as well. Of course, you know, Infernities are still going to be running this 3 Soul Charges that are available because, you know, other decks that are trying to make profit off of are going to get available. So, therefore, something Infernities is going to get hit. And clearly, putting Barrier down to 1 wasn't enough. It clearly wasn't enough. And if we don't hit Soul Charge, then what can we hit? And this is the one where I was kind of sitting there and debating, and I really couldn't decide on what card to hit in particular, or what cards to hit in particular, because I just don't know, you know. You know, obviously putting Barrier down to 1 didn't do anything because they started running, you know, Break, and Break is still a really good card. It's a 1-for-1, and, you know, it can go ahead and banish itself for other, and it's just a really great card. It's a searchable kind of just, you know, 1-for-1, because you play it, you pop your opponent, you banish, pop your opponent's card, and of course it goes to the graveyard, and it fuels itself. So, it's kind of like, you know, is that what we want to hit? You know, do we want to lower the consistency by, you know, maybe dropping Archfiend, or maybe dropping Necromancer? I don't know. You know, some people are saying, like, hit Armageddon Knight like OCG did, but the thing with Armageddon Knight is they can always play Mathematician, so, you know, that's not a very justifiable hit, so that's not it. So, you know, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, but I'm finally done. I'm finally done. So, like I said, it took me a lot of thought. It took me a lot to do with this list. I apologize for this video being long, but I wanted to go into a lot of detail and explain what the idea was and the choices that I made and what I think what Konami is going to do. So, despite, a lot of cards that I want and I think should be hit, I tried to leave the bias at the door and tried to get inside the profit margin as much as I could. While, still leaving a little bit in there for you guys, but I hope you guys enjoyed. So tell me what you guys think. Like I said, it's going to be fun just to see how many cards do get moved and do get hit. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these cards end up on the list, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of cards don't end up on the list, because it's just really hard to really get into the mentality of Konami. We really don't know when they make the ban list. For all we know, they made the ban list like 2 months ago before, even the deck that we're topping right now has even started topping. So, we don't know when they made it. We don't know what they want to do when it comes to making money, what they want to hit. But I say for this list, and in the end, my last things that I have to say about this is that in the end, for this list, it's all about the profit margin. Anything from Dragons to Legends and anything from Primal Origins, that's what they want to sell. They're going to need to sell that to keep themselves afloat, to make money, all the way up into Duelist Alliance in August. So, therefore, I feel that the decks that are below them, the decks that they're not making any money off of, like Myrmelos and Infernities and Geargiagear, those three, I think, are the ones that are going to get the deck the hardest this ban list. So, tell me what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching my ban list prediction. Thank you guys for all the support, and I will see you guys on the actual ban list. Thanks for watching.